The laughter inside stopped so abruptly it was like someone had hit pause on a sitcom. Through the frosted glass, I could see my brother-in-law, Garrett, frozen mid-chuckle, his face morphing from smug satisfaction to complete horror. I'm Natasha, and I'm a documentary filmmaker. For the past 8 months, I'd been working on a project about family dynamics during the holidays, specifically, how different families handle conflict, tradition, and inclusion. What my husband's family didn't know was that they'd just become the perfect case study for toxic family behavior. Let me rewind to how we got here. I met Oliver 4 years ago at a film festival. He was there supporting a friend. I was screening a short documentary about generational trauma. He seemed genuinely interested in my work, asked thoughtful questions, and didn't do that thing where people immediately pitch their great idea for a documentary that's usually just their personal drama. His family was a different story. The Brennans were old Connecticut money, not yacht money, but enough to have a family compound and look down on anyone who worked in the arts. His mother, Constance, literally asked at our first meeting if documentary filmmaking was a real job or more of a hobby thing. His father, William, was slightly better, but only because he said less. Garrett, Oliver's older brother, was an investment banker who thought anyone making less than 6 figures was playing at life. His wife, Melissa, had perfected the art of the backhanded compliment. "Oh, how brave of you to pursue your passion instead of stability." For 3 years, I endured their subtle and not-so-subtle jabs. They'd forget to set a place for me at formal dinners. They'd plan family photos when they knew I was traveling for work. They'd discuss family vacations in front of me but never invite me. Oliver always had excuses. They're still warming up to you, or that's just how they are. The documentary project started as something completely separate from my personal life. I'd received a grant to explore modern family dynamics, and I was filming several families over the course of a year. But the more toxic behavior I documented in other families, the more I recognized it in my own situation. 3 weeks before Christmas, I made a decision. I asked Oliver if I could include his family in my documentary. It would be great to have an upper-middle-class perspective, I said, carefully not mentioning that they'd be the example of dysfunction, not harmony. Oliver was thrilled. His family? Even more so. Constance immediately started planning their outfits and discussing how to make the house camera ready. None of them asked to see my previous work or what angle I was taking. They just assumed they'd be portrayed as the perfect American family. I brought in my small crew, just Marcus, my cameraman, and Jade, my sound engineer. We were unobtrusive, using small cameras, wireless mics, and staying out of the way. The Brennans loved it. They performed for the cameras, showing off their coordinated Christmas decorations, their expensive gifts, their matching family sweaters. What they didn't realize was that we were capturing everything, not just their posed moments, but the casual cruelties, the microaggressions, the way they systematically excluded me while pretending to be welcoming. The footage from the week leading up to Christmas was damning. Constance, not knowing her MIC was hot, telling Melissa that she hoped Oliver would come to his senses and find someone more suitable. William referring to me as Oliver's current girlfriend despite our 3-year marriage. Garrett making jokes about how I probably couldn't afford to contribute to the family gift exchange. But Christmas Eve dinner was when they decided to escalate from passive-aggressive to openly hostile. It started with the seating arrangement. Despite there being 8 of us and a table for 12, somehow there was no chair for me. "Oh, we must have miscounted," Constance said sweetly. "You don't mind getting a folding chair from the garage, do you, dear?" Then came the family photos. "Let's get one of just the family," Melissa suggested, gesturing for me to step aside. When I stayed put, she clarified, "the real family." Oliver said nothing. The meal itself was a masterclass in exclusion. They talked over me, ignored my contributions to conversation, and passed dishes around me as if I wasn't there. When I got up to use the bathroom, I heard them through the door. They didn't know I was wearing a MIC, discussing how to handle the situation. "She's like a barnacle," Garrett said. "Impossible to scrape off." "Give it time," Constance replied. "Oliver's infatuations never last. Remember that teacher he dated?" Melissa laughed. "We froze her out in 6 months. That's when they hatched their plan for the prank." When I came back from the bathroom, dessert was being served in the living room. As soon as I stepped outside to help Oliver get something from his car, or so I thought, I heard the lock click behind me. The December air was brutal, maybe 20 degrees. I knocked politely at first, thinking it was genuinely an accident. That's when Garrett appeared at the window. Oops, door's locked. Guess you'll have to eat outside. He laughed through the window, holding up his key and dangling it mockingly. I looked through the dining room window where the others sat around the table, enjoying their Christmas pudding. Oliver caught my eye and shrugged from his seat. It's just a prank. That's when I smiled and waved at them cheerfully. No problem. My documentary crew loves authentic footage. Smile, you're about to be famous. Marcus, who'd been filming from the corner of the room, turned his camera toward the window, capturing their shocked faces. Jade, who was stationed outside for exterior shots, was already filming me locked out in the cold. But here's what they didn't know. We weren't just filming for my small documentary. 2 weeks earlier, a major streaming platform had picked up my project for a series about toxic family dynamics. The Brennans had signed releases thinking they were participating in a small academic project. They hadn't read the fine print about distribution rights. Constance was the first to react, rushing to the door. Oh my goodness, Natasha. Garrett, unlock this door immediately. It was just a misunderstanding. But Jade was already on the phone with our producer. Yeah, we got it all. The lockout, the planning, everything. It's incredible footage. The door flew open, and suddenly I was being ushered inside with apologies and excuses. It was just a joke. We didn't mean anything by it. You know how families are. I stood in the foyer, snow still on my shoulders, and looked at each of them. We've been filming for a week. We have everything. The comments about my career, my background, my worthiness to be in this family. Constance, we have you calling me a gold digger even though I make more than Oliver. William, we recorded you offering Oliver money to reconsider his options. Garrett, your barnacle comment was particularly charming. Oliver finally stood up. Natasha, you can't use that footage. It's private. Actually, I said, pulling out the release forms they'd all signed. I can. You gave me full permission to use any and all footage for my documentary on modern family dynamics. You even insisted on signing the expanded release for potential streaming distribution because you wanted to be famous. We'll sue, William blustered. Go ahead, I said. I have 3 lawyers who specialize in documentary film. We've done nothing illegal or unethical. You signed the releases, you knew you were being filmed, and you chose to behave this way. Melissa was panic scrolling on her phone. Oh my God, you have 200,000 Instagram followers. If this gets out. When? I corrected. When this gets out. The series premieres in March. Your episode is titled The Freeze Out, When Families Weaponize Exclusion. Constance sank into a chair. You've destroyed us. Our reputation, our standing in the community. No, I said firmly. You destroyed yourselves. I just documented it. Oliver grabbed my arm. You're my wife. You can't do this to my family. I pulled away. I was your wife. Past tense. The divorce papers are in your car. That's what you were supposed to be getting. I filed them Monday. The room erupted. Shouting, accusations, threats. Marcus and Jade kept filming, capturing the complete meltdown of the perfect Brennan family. Garrett tried to grab Marcus's camera, but Marcus, a former college linebacker, just stepped back and kept filming. Sir, please don't touch the equipment. Turn those off. Constance shrieked. Actually, Jade said, this is great footage for the follow-up episode about families dealing with accountability. I gathered my coat and headed for the door. The locks on the apartment will be changed by morning, Oliver. Your things are already packed. The movers will deliver them to whatever address you provide. You planned this, he accused. No, I said. I planned to document real family dynamics. You all planned to humiliate me. You just didn't plan on consequences. As I walked to my car, I heard William on the phone with his lawyer, Constance sobbing about their ruined Christmas, and Garrett threatening to destroy my career. Oliver stood in the doorway, finally understanding that his silence had been compliance, his shrug a betrayal that would be seen by millions. The documentary series launched 3 months later to critical acclaim. The Brennan episode became the most watched, a viral sensation that sparked thousands of discussions about toxic in-laws and complicit spouses. The family tried to do damage control, posting their own videos claiming it was edited to make them look bad, but the raw footage spoke for itself. Oliver sent me a long email after the premiere, finally apologizing, admitting he'd been a coward, that he'd chosen the path of least resistance instead of defending his wife. I didn't reply. Some apologies come too late. The Brennans became infamous. Constance was asked to step down from her charity boards. William's country club membership was quietly revoked. Garrett's firm suggested he take a sabbatical after clients expressed discomfort. Melissa's Instagram influencer career ended when brands started dropping her. But the most interesting outcome came from other families featured in the documentary. Unlike the Brennans, several families watched themselves on screen and chose to change. They sought therapy, had hard conversations, made amends. The series became a catalyst for healing in many households. As for me, I won an Emmy for the series. In my acceptance speech, I thanked all the families who participated, especially those who showed us what not to do. I'm remarried now to a wonderful man whose family includes me in everything, sometimes to an almost embarrassing degree. His mother texts me more than she texts him. His siblings fight over who gets to sit next to me at dinners. It's overwhelming in the best way. Every Christmas, they insist on setting an extra place at the table, just in case someone needs to come in from the cold, his mother says with a wink. It's become our tradition, a reminder that real families don't lock people out, they invite them in. The Brennans still send me legal threats occasionally, trying to find some way to get the footage removed from streaming platforms. Their lawyer recently contacted mine about a settlement discussion. My reply was simple. Your clients wanted to be famous. Congratulations. They are.